Hello, little stitches. Miss Mary here. I just wanted to wish you a happy holiday and hope you had a great new year. And today we are making a little gnome out of yarn. If you picked up a kit from the library, inside the bag you'll find white yarn, a little piece of a toilet paper roll, some fluff, a little pom-pom. Inside this bag is a cup full of glue and another cut of yarn. This could be a couple different colors depending on which kit you have. Like in the example, you might have blue, you might have red, you might have green, or there's also a light blue. But we will work with those the same way. If you picked up a kit from the library, one item you will still need is a pair of scissors, and the kit did come with glue, but if you do have a hot glue gun and an adult that can help you, hot gluing it might be easier when we get to that part, but if you do not have access to that, no worries, you've got glue in the kit. First, you're going to find your piece of the toilet paper roll and whatever color yarn you got. So that might be red, green, blue, but we don't want to use our white yet. White is going to be the beard. Before you start filling up your paper towel roll to make that headband, you might want to set 1 or 2 of your red strings aside. You should have plenty of extras to fill up the whole band, but just in case, we at least need 1 to tie where our pom-pom of the hat is, and then if you want to attach it to a string to hang it up, that would be the second one. So if you want to set those aside just in case, so you don't use those. So you're going to find your toilet paper roll. You're going to open up your colored string, and you're going to see that it's a kind of a long piece of string, and you're going to fold it in half where you have the loop down here. You're going to take your toilet paper roll, put the loop through, find the 2 ends, and hopefully they stayed about the same. You could always adjust that so they meet up on the end that they're open. And you're going to go through the loop and pull. And we're going to do that all the way around the toilet paper roll, because what we're making is the headband part of the little hat. So see how I went all the way around? The other thing you want to keep in mind is making sure that every time you do it the same way. So for this one, we'll take another piece of string, fold it in half, find your loop. I want to make sure I'm putting the loop in the same way as I did before, pulling those strings through. And it's okay if they get a little uneven, you could pull them together. And then pull it nice and tight. And you can see that all the strings are on the same side and my loops look the same. So if I went in this time, because I forgot what I was doing, and I accidentally put the loop in the wrong way and pulled them through, you'll know right away that they're just not facing the same way. And that's not a big deal. All you have to do is pull that little part, that's the loop, and you could take it right off and then just try it the other way. And then I put them through and line them up and then pull. And again, we're going to do it for the whole stack. You might have extra string, but you want to make sure you go all the way around your paper towel roll. Alright, so now that I've filled in the whole paper towel roll, I have the 2 I set aside, and I still have some extras. So what you could do is, if you do have extras, you can kind of push your yarn aside if you want to fill in and make sure there's no cracks. But mine feels pretty filled in. So what you're going to do next is take all the yarn that's on one side and push it up through the toilet paper roll center. And then you're gonna slowly go through and just make sure all the yarn pieces has made its way out. And you can kind of fix it up, push that through, and there's the start to our little hat. Next, what you're going to do is take one of the red strings that you set aside, and you're going to tie it around the top. This is where you can kind of play with your hat if you want a teeny tiny little pom-pom on the top or a little bit bigger. You can kind of figure out where you want to put that little knot. So I'm going to tighten it real tight, and then I'm going to knot it one more time. And I'm not going to cut that yet. So with how it is now, there's a couple of things that are going to happen. First, you could take your scissors and you can kind of smooth out the pom-pom so it's nice and round, because right now it might look a little crazy. So we're going to do that. Okay, so at this time, I'm going to use my scissors. I'm just going to trim off a little bit at a time. And kind of go in like a circle shape, like round up to the top to make it look like a cute little pom-pom. Alright, once you got a little pom-pom that you like, next what we're going to do is with that knot, so I didn't cut that part yet. If the string is long enough, you could just knot this and then you've already got somewhere to hang if you want to hang it. Or if you don't like that and you have your other string, or if this string is too short because when you tied it a couple times, you could take that other string you have and make a knot. So like what I like to do is fold it in half, wrap it around my finger, kind of make a loop, pull those top two through, and then I've got a loop, and then you could tie it into your hat that way, and you'll just make a knot. Make sure you don't get any of the pom-pom part in there. Tie it tight, and then you've got a way to hang it. And then once you tie your knot, you could trim off the extra part down here. So I tied it only once. I'm going to make sure it's nice and tight. I'm going to double knot it, so I'm going to tie it one more time. And then I'm going to make sure I don't cut the loop I just made. So I want to keep this, so I'm going to move it over, but I want to cut the part that I tied the loop onto. And then I'm just going to cut it the size of the pom-pom, so then it matches and blends into the pom-pom. And then I still have my loop here. The next thing we're going to do is take that little bit of fluff and just put that into your hat, and that kind of helps make the hat stay up just like that. At this point, we're done with whatever color yarn you got, the extra color one you have, and we're going to bring out our white. So as of right now, and just to make it easier to put in your kits, they are tied in the middle, and you can either find where that tie is, or if they have come untied, you just have to lay them all out in a pile and then pick one of your yarn and tie it around the middle. And see how I put right in the middle. I found my two ends so I can make it, oop, that's not it, oop. Sometimes it's hard to tell. There we go. So I found the two ends that make it tight. And again, if you had to take it all apart or anything like that, no worries at all. You just lay each, here, I'll even take mine out. Okay, so let's say, and then you're just gonna lay each out and line them up and make a big old pile of them. And then pick one of the strings, doesn't matter which one, they're all the same length, and go right in the middle. And then I'm going to tie it right in the middle with just a knot. And then as tight as I can pull it. And then I'm going to tie another double knot. And then I'm going to tie again a triple knot because I really don't want this to fall out. And that is my beard. So we've got our beard, we've got our hat, and we have our little nose. So at this point, if you're going to have an adult help you with the glue gun, you can use the glue gun instead. If not, the kit came with just Elmer's glue, and you could use this as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the part where I made my knot, and I'm going to add glue, and I'm going to put the hat right on top. See how it's going to fit right on there. So if there's any certain way you want to make sure the hat goes, like I want the loop part in the back, and then if there's any certain side to the beard that you like better, make sure those are lining up the way you want them to. So if you could hold the beard enough to just stick it in here, you could do that, get a nice glob of glue. If not, you can kind of tilt your glue a little bit and pour some on. There we go. So remember, Elmer's glue is really, really strong. It really does hold things. I think the problem, usually what happens is people don't give it long enough to dry. So the more glue we add, the longer it's going to take to dry. The other thing I'm going to do is kind of around my edges have some glue, so I'm going to put it on the top of my hat. You could even put some in your cap and kind of dab it on. Oop, got some on the table, I'm going to use it. And I could even dab my hat around in the glue. That way I have a nice little circle of glue on my hat. I'm going to move it around so there's not just one glob of glue that's not touching anything. And then I'm going to slowly push it down. And I'm taking my thumb and I'm going right in the middle of my beard where we tied the knot, and I'm pushing it up a little bit. That way it's kind of up inside there a little bit where it can dry. Okay, so once you get the beard where you want it, I'm going to move my glue over for a second. And you can look at this one. So this one I had made earlier, and see how the beard that is a little more trimmed up. So if you like what the beard looks like now, just wait one moment and then we're going to go to the next step. But if you want to make your beard a little more circular, or if some are really long and some are really short, you can use your scissors at this time and just kind of cut those ends, just like we did the pom-pom, and shape the beard any way you want. Alright, once we're happy with our beard shape, the last thing we have to do is take our little tiny nose. And I was about to dip it in the glue, but I'm scared that if I dip it in there, I'm going to lose it and it's going to sink to the bottom. And I noticed that there's a little bit of glue dripping off the side here, so I'm actually just going to scoop that up. You could also pour a little out into the cap and then dip it that way. That would be a good way to kind of get some glue on there without having to dip it all the way in there. And then you're going to find right in the middle and stick it just so it goes under the hat just a little tiny bit. And like I was saying, Elmer's glue is really strong, but we're going to need to let this dry. So with how much glue I put on here, I probably would let it sit out for the rest of the day until tomorrow. So give it 24 hours. So whatever time it is right now, you can look at a watch or a clock, and don't play with it until the very next day, that same time. Because that will give it a full 24 hours for all the glue to dry. And then you can hang it up, or you can play with them, or you could set them up somewhere to decorate your house for the winter time. All right, my little stitches, I hope you had fun today making yarn gnomes. If you did like making it today, you can always get more yarn and make another one. And you can make different color hats and even different color beards. And until next time, goodbye.